If you knew that the population of good bacteria in your gut is pretty much in charge of how you feel both physically and mentally, would you choose to make sure it gets what it needs to thrive? If you want to get rid of feeling totally flat for no reason, bloating, indigestion, brain fog, low energy, stubborn weight gain, start listening to your gut. All of these problems are associated with a gut microbiome that is completely out of balance, causing your mind and your body to suffer. But the good news is you can turn this completely around, and quickly too. Today, drawing on the wisdom of two leading voices in gut health, Dr. Stephen Gundry and Dr. Berg, I'll show you exactly how to get your gut thriving again. Right now inside your gut, there is a hidden universe. Trillions of tiny bacteria, fungi, microbes. In fact, they outnumber your human cells, which means technically you're more bacteria than human. This invisible ecosystem is called your microbiome, and it does so much more than digest your food. This good bacteria, your microbiome, has an incredible influence on your mood. In fact, over 90% of serotonin, the chemical that makes you feel really good, is produced not in your brain, but it's produced in your digestive system. And that's why scientists call your gut your second brain. But serotonin, that's only part of the story. Your microbiome also helps to regulate dopamine, the chemical of motivation and reward. And of course, there's GABA, the chemical messenger that brings calm and relaxation. In other words, your gut, it isn't just digesting your food, it's shaping your emotions, your focus, even your sense of well-being. So when you find yourself feeling completely stressed, you're worried, you're flat, you're depressed, frustrated, angry, it is essential that your gut and your brain has this open line of communication as they massively rely on each other and, of course, influence one another. Now, moving on from how you feel emotionally to how you're going physically, your microbiome is essential to help fuel your energy by breaking down your food into the nutrients your body runs on. Now, your microbiome also fights off viruses, toxins, and the constant attack of harmful bacteria. So it is a massive support to your immune system. And yes, the health of your microbiome, it influences your weight, your hormones, and your skin too. So if your microbiome has that much power over your life, it is a no-brainer that giving it what it needs to thrive is, or should be, a huge priority. This channel is about taking health back into your own hands, nurturing both your mind and taking care of the only home you will ever have to live, your body, and remembering that true self-care sits inside. So let's dive into the health of your good bacteria, your gut microbiome, and it starts with feeding and growing this mega population of good bacteria. So think of your digestive system like the soil in your garden. If the soil is rich, if it's balanced and full of life, the plants, of course, will flourish. But if it's dry, it's toxic, or it's full of weeds, well, nothing thrives. Your gut microbiome works in exactly the same way. When it's healthy, of course, you feel alive, you feel energetic and clear-headed. But when excessive stress, too much sugar, processed foods, or of course antibiotics are throwing it off balance, the bad bacteria rise in number and it takes over. And that's when all of the symptoms appear. So what do the experts say? Two doctors who make the most sense on gut health, in my humble opinion, are Dr. Stephen Gundry and Dr. Berg. Now, Dr. Gundry, he recommends that we feed our microbiome with these prebiotic foods, including broccoli, kale, salad greens, Jerusalem artichokes, onions, garlics, leeks, asparagus, avocado, walnuts, and my favorite, a really high quality dark chocolate with at least 80% cacao bean. And this selection of food not only feeds your gut bacteria, they are also free of lectins, which he claims cause leaky gut syndrome. Lectins in large amounts are known to irritate and damage the gut lining, leading to really, really small holes along the small intestine. And these are the tiny gaps that allow toxins to leak into your bloodstream, which trigger inflammation all over your body. They are a huge culprit of causing inflammation, which of course includes bloating. But if you want to avoid the problems associated with lectins, then reduce foods including tomatoes, eggplant, wheat, legumes, beans, lentils. But if you're like me and you love lentils, you can reduce the amount of lectins by soaking them first and then cooking them really, really well. So if we feed our gut microbiome with the prebiotic foods that Gundry recommends, we can also add foods that already contain good bacteria, which are otherwise known as probiotics, especially when we know our gut health is poor, or maybe we've just been on antibiotics, which completely wipe out your microbiome. Foods that contain huge amounts of good gut bacteria include kombucha, raw and unpasteurized sauerkraut, kimchi, pickles that are naturally fermented, not pickled, and of course, yogurt. And you'll notice that all of these foods containing live bacteria, they are usually found refrigerated to keep all of those microorganisms alive. And guys, you can find a full list of all of these foods I've mentioned in the description below. And now let's move on to Dr. Berg. He approaches gut bacteria health from a slightly different angle, intermittent fasting. He points out that constant snacking, foods that are high in sugar and carbohydrates, don't just cause insulin resistance, they starve your gut microbiome. So the population of bad bacteria get totally out of control, pushing the good bacteria we need for digestion out. And this is why Dr. Berg is a huge fan of intermittent fasting. The easiest, simplest, massive change you can do for your gut today is simply to not eat any food at all from, let's say, 8 p.m. this evening until at least 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, allowing your microbiome a whole 15 hours or more to completely reset, for inflammation in your body to calm down and energy to return. Guys, constant grazing on food all day from the minute you get up until the minute you go to bed is probably the worst thing you can possibly do for your gut microbiome. So stop snacking and get on board with intermittent fasting. And if you combine intermittent fasting with foods like avocado, nuts, seeds, and fermented vegetables, you have got yourself a winning recipe for amazing gut health. So let's summarize. Feed your gut microbiome with vegetables, healthy fats, and fermented foods like sauerkraut. Starve the bad bacteria by cutting down on the sugar, the carbohydrates like bread and pasta, and try and eliminate as many processed foods as you can. And this is super important. Give your gut a break from eating for around 15 hours minimum every 24 hours. Your gut, it isn't just about digesting food. It's your body's control center for your emotional state, your physical health. So take care of it. And in return, it takes care of your brain, your mood, your immune system, your skin, your joints, your energy, especially after 40. And as Hippocrates said over 2,000 years ago, all diseases begin in the gut. And now modern science, well, it's finally catching up. So take care of your microbiome and your microbiome will take care of you. All of the recommended foods are in the description below. Until next time, here's to a happy gut, a healthy body, and a whole lot more vitality. Namaste.